So, what does analysis actually look like? First, you need to find an artifact, find something that works. In the world of intercultural communication issues right now, right, we have things like massive refugee numbers coming out of Syria into Europe and how the European nations are dealing with that. We have Saudi Arabia with questions about whether or not they have been willing to take any refugees. We have American and Cuban um, uh, relaxation of the policies of isolation with Cuba, and so people are now being able to travel back and forth between those countries more easily. We have things like the issues of race and police behavior in this country, with the most recent example being the Jeff Blake issue in New York City. We have concerns about the immigration that have been raised by politicians such as Donald Trump. We have other concerns such as the student in Texas who created the young student who created a clock and was arrested because they expected that it could have been a bomb. We have numbers and numbers, multitudes of issues of intercultural tensions that can be that have created artifacts. So they've created people making arguments about these concerns. And what we want to be able to find is the representative artifact, the right artifact to be able to make your argument. Identify what is important or interesting about that artifact with respect to intercultural power imbalance. This will be your thesis, right? Your thesis will be, hey, look, there is this power imbalance here, and whether that's media representation favoring one group over another, whether it's one political group having more power over another, whatever the case might be, that your argument is we see a power imbalance here. There's some type of resource where one group is favored over another. And identify the specific features of the work you can use to support your argument, right? Your thesis. So out of this particular article, this particular newspaper article, this particular television news program, this speech, this government document, whatever the case might be, whatever the artifact is, you need to identify the specific features of that particular work that you can use to support your argument that there is this power imbalance. And what we do with systematic analysis, we'll kind of talk about a few different types of analysis. So systematic analysis identify specific themes, right? So statements that indicate a particular point of view. So then when you look at it, you say, hey, look, there are these statements, and we can see that there are these larger themes. So it could be a larger theme of racism, a larger theme of socialism, a larger theme of capitalism, whatever the case might be. There are these larger themes that are present in the work. Attributions are characterizations of persons, places, or things. How are these particular characters, right, or places or things kind of characterized in the specific document itself or the specific artifact itself? And to be really focused on that, like what type of image are they creating here? How are we supposed to think of this person? Values, beliefs, attitudes of the speaker, or cultural patterns, right? That for a larger cultural pattern. So a speaker might have certain values, certain attitudes, certain beliefs, but there might be values, attitudes, or beliefs of the larger cultural system which are stated or indicated. And then argumentative features. So argument forms, evidence. How is the person actually constructing their argument? Not the argument that the student is making about the artifact, but in the artifact itself. How are the arguments being created, and what are the forms, and what are the evidence that are being used? One of the things that's always interesting about debates, and we have obviously the Republican debates going on right now, is a lot of people do fact checking after the fact of the debates and figure out were these candidates telling the truth or not. And as a result, what they're basically doing is they're really focusing on this notion of how the debaters created arguments and used evidence to support their arguments, or in fact, sometimes maybe didn't use evidence. So that's an important factor to think about. Political relations. So statements that reveal power, political or power relations between different groups. Those are all things you can use to do a systematic analysis. Next, we're going to talk about value analysis.